everyone, welcome to the SOS marketing series. I'm here with Duncan Pratt-Stephen, and he's going to share with us some amazing social media and marketing tips that local businesses can use during this time.
Hey everyone, my name's Duncan. I've worked at Mention for about 4.5 years. I'm the general manager and also the head of customer success. So I work with every single type of business, something from a local business to something a little bit more enterprise. So I'm here to give you a few tips on how to leverage this time to get the most out of what's going on.
So Duncan, what are some of the points that we're going to touch on today?
So we have 3 kind of tips that we'll be working through one by one. The first tip that we're going to go over is don't stay silent when everyone is talking. The second tip will be humanize your brand online. And the last would be start listening. Start being conscious of your customer feedback loop as things are changing throughout the day.
Okay, let's get started on the first tip.
Okay. So the first tip is do not stay silent when everyone's listening. As everybody knows right now, everybody's online and people are more active in their communities than ever. They're looking for reasons to engage and to talk to people. So it's super important that local businesses engage and start listening with people. It's really important that your brand can navigate the reputation management and let your consumers help shape your content for your messaging and your service to an extent. So start encouraging user-generated content to help spread the word of your shift in social distance-friendly services. So a lot of people online now are trying to do more creative things. For example, restaurants are doing takeout more often. So they're trying to be more creative in how they're presenting that. We have a local pizza shop here called Vinny's in Brooklyn. And what they're doing is they're giving out a kit to make pizza at home. So what people are doing is they're able to generate revenue, but they understand that people are sharing and want experiences with their family. So they're able to showcase that and get people talking about their brand. So they're starting a conversation online based on what they're seeing from their environment and what their consumers are looking for.
So when you say engage, what if I'm not a restaurant? What if I have other physical products? How are ways that I can engage with my community with my product without seeming inconsiderate?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously it changes on what you're presenting. There's ways to go online for everything. So for things like gyms, we're seeing a lot of people go online, take virtual classes, still keeping that community. So a lot of local businesses right now thrive on generating an internal community. So they're engaging with people, they're talking to people, they're building an environment for people to come back to. So we're seeing a lot of gyms online. They're taking that internal community that they have in their studios and trying to bring it online. So they're doing virtual classes. They're making sure that they're doing different types of virtual things. So not maybe just classes, but maybe they're doing a happy hour with their people that are part of their gym. Maybe they're focusing on different ideas and concepts that they can bring to the community that they always do every single day inside their gym, but find a virtual way of doing that. So we see a lot of businesses trying to switch that online. It's really, really important to understand what got businesses to where they are today. So it's based on the experience that they're providing, and they need to make sure that they're conscious of that and they're listening to what their community is saying and trying to transfer that online when they don't have physical spaces.
Okay, awesome. And what if you talk about community? What for a lot of businesses, some of them weren't nurturing their community before. So it's almost like they're starting at ground zero. What advice or tips do you have for people who are starting completely brand new, fresh, never before?
For sure. So one, you wanna look at if you have social channels already set up. You want to understand what the chatter is around your brand. If someone's tagging you in their post, make sure you're looking at what they're saying. Make sure what they're promoting about you is in tune with what you want to promote, and then start from there. So listen to what your customers are saying, because that's the best way to build a strategy about community, right? If your community is talking to you, listen and implement. I think that's the most important thing that you can do. Don't define what your community wants. Work with them to define what you both want together. So now is not the time to lose sight of your brand's tone and personality. Ensure it's intact and allow your message to walk in your consumer's shoes. Well, what does your audience want to hear? Now, that's really hard to say right now because of everything going on. But listen and understand what your community is going through. Like that pizza shop that I was talking about before, they're also allowing people to donate food to local hospitals and police stations and things like that. So they're also listening to a lot of people in their community say, hey, how can I help? What can I do? I have a little extra money now that I'm staying in all the time. How can I do this? So they're listening to their community, not just in how to sell pizza, but how to make sure that they're growing their community now and after this is over.
Okay, so when you say a human element, how can I transfer that physical, the offline human element to the online human element? What are some of the things I should probably be practicing for my business if I decide that I want to take on the challenge of being more human, making my brand more human?
Yeah. So, I mean, depending on what it is, if it's an item or if you're dealing with customer service or things like that, understand the times. A lot of times previously, we would have an experience with customer service and maybe it wouldn't be the best or it seemed very cold. Make sure that you're understanding, you're being empathetic with the people that you're dealing with, knowing that this is a chaotic time for everybody. Everybody has some level of stress that they're dealing with. To make sure you understand that the community is hurting as much as you are sometimes, and to make sure that you're being aware of that. Make sure you're doing campaigns that are thinking about that and understanding the undertones of everything that's going on. So make sure you're not just a robot online saying, buy this, buy this, buy this, buy this, but saying, hey, we know times are tough. We understand what's going on. We think this could help you for X, Y, and Z. So the third tip here is going to be start listening. So you're going to want to use a tool similar to Mention, where you're going to understand what's happening online and what your consumers are saying about you. So people maybe gave you critiques in person now, or sorry, let me start over.
No problem.
Tip three. Tip three is start listening. So you're going to use a tool like Mention to better understand what your community is saying about you. So you're lacking that in-person feedback that you would see normally, where someone comes up maybe at the pizza shop and says, this pizza's cold. Maybe at a gym is like, hey, this class, I really didn't like it, or this was wrong for X, Y, and Z. You're not going to have that. So you're going to have to look and be more creative and understand where your customers are talking. So that's going to be on social channels. It's going to be on forums. Maybe it's going to be on a Yelp. And you're going to want to better understand what's being said. And you have to be very thoughtful of that customer feedback loop and how you're going to be able to implement that into what you're doing.
Okay, and what are some examples that you have where social listening has actually benefited a brand or it's helped a brand grow?
Okay. So there's an example in New York City. Obviously, I'm based here in Brooklyn. There's a really famous magazine called Time Out. I'm sure you guys are familiar. Bread and Butter is talking about where to go. And obviously, that's not something we can do right now. So what they've done is they changed temporarily the name to Time In. And what they're doing is they're focusing on different things that they can do inside of your house, whether that's something like a Zoom happy hour, like I said before, or maybe there's different businesses that are showing or streaming live music. They're trying to give you and curate things for you that are very focused to what you're dealing with now. So they're adapting and making sure that they're not losing their revenue stream by understanding their environment.
Okay, and what's one tip that you would give business owners in terms of listening and connecting with their audience after all of this has happened? So these are tips that we got to implement now, but what are some tips or one major tip that you would tell business owners to implement after COVID-19 crisis has calmed down and things are going back to a new normal?
So the major tip that I would give is remember online is super important, not just during times of COVID, but in times in general. So make sure that all the hard work that you're building during this crisis doesn't go to waste the minute the doors open again, and you start and continue to build that reputation, feedback loop, everything that you're working on to make sure that you can have it in harmony with your actual physical space.
So consistency is key before, during, and after.
Exactly. Whatever you're building right now has value when there's a physical store as well, or a physical location. Your community is there all the time, so it's just going to be slightly different. So you're gonna adjust a little bit on the amount of time people are spending online and the amount of focus they're putting on it, but you can adapt quickly to that as you kind of learn what your consumers are saying.
Okay, thank you. I mean, these are really helpful tips. And for instance, if I'm a business owner and I'm interested in using Mention, where can I find you guys?
So really simple, you can go to www.mention.com and you can sign up for a free trial. We have everything from a free plan to a more enterprise plan, and you can kind of test out what's best for you. It's all based on different criteria, and you'll be able to find all that information at mention.com.
Okay, thank you very much, Duncan. And this has been the SOS Marketing Series. I hope you guys take these tips into consideration and start using them. And check out Mention if you want to improve your social listening skills.